Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports. We are here to bring you a new video, and the new video is all about the latest signing of Chelsea Football Club. It is on Mykhailo Mudryk from Shakhtar Donetsk. Let's understand his impact, his player profile, and what is he going to bring into the table for Chelsea. Now, to start off with, if I have to talk about Chelsea Football Club, they are in certain turmoil. We all understand what has happened in Chelsea Football Club. They had a complete overhaul in the management level where they brought in Todd Bowley, and from there, sacking off Thomas Tuchel with the kind of start he had, bringing Graham Potter, and Chelsea are currently 10th in the Premier League standings. They've been knocked out of the Carabao Cup, and things are not looking great for them at all. If you have to talk about Graham Potter, he has not been able to make any new impact, and also with Chelsea, injury lists have been racking up quite rapidly. Now, Reece James is out, Sterling is out, N'Golo Kante is out. These are some of the major players who are out, and if you have to really make a difference, you have to bring in some new signings. Who did Chelsea bring in? They brought in How Felix on loan and Mykhailo Mudryk. And what is the area maybe Chelsea is struggling in? They are definitely struggling when it comes to their creative play. They need players to push the ball into the final third, make progression in, and that's when maybe let's look at what Mykhailo Mudryk can bring in into the table for Chelsea Football Club. Let's understand his impact in terms of the number of goals he has scored for Shakhtar Football Club and what has he done, right? If you have to look into Mykhailo Mudryk, we can understand that in the Champions League, that's where he really made an impact for himself, and that's why European teams really thought, okay, this kid has got the talent. He scored 3 goals in the 6 appearances he's had, and also 2 assists. Now, in the Ukrainian league, one could say Ukrainian league is not the parameter to complete, actually refer yourself or to really compare yourself. But the 12 games he's played in the season, he scored 7 goals and he's also given 7 assists. That's pretty decent stat to have, and that's a certain impact which he has created straight up front. Now let's look at his per 90 stats and to understand what's the kind of impact he can possibly bring in terms of numbers for Chelsea Football Club. Now in the last one season, his per 90 stat non-penalty goals is 0.52, and when it comes to shots, he's had a per 90 shot percentile of 1.57 and percentile of 83, and assists is also per 90 of 0.35, which is pretty decent for a player to have. And also when you look at XAG, it is 0.12. Now, what do these stats really tell us, right? These stats really tell us about an explosive winger who can cut inside, an explosive winger who is pretty decent with his creative play as well. Now let's look at his creative side of things and his defensive side of things as well. Now when it comes to his pass completion rate, it is at 72.1, and when it comes to his when it comes to dribbles attempt is 1.74, which is pretty very good at this stage. Now if you have to look at a player of Mudryk's stature, you can maybe compare him with a Martinelli or a Vinny Jr. Plays on the left hand side for Shakhtar. A player with extremely explosive who can cut inside, who looks to take on the opposition right backs. And these are factors which you need to consider when you are analyzing a player like Mudryk and what is he going to really bring into the table for Chelsea. Let's understand his stats even more. As a stats worm also tell us at this point, we can understand that his shot percentage is also pretty high. If you have to look at Z 3.02 and his percentile is at 92. Now his touches inside the box is a very impressive rate at 6.04, which is a very good stat. Now that's where you feel a player of Mudryk's stature is gonna make a lot of impact for Chelsea Football Club as they have signed him. Now, how is Chelsea going to really fit him into the lineup? And what is Chelsea really lacking? Now, as I already mentioned, Chelsea is lacking a player who really can make an impact in terms of creativity. That's where they possibly wanted a complete revamp with the midfield. As you understand, Mason Mount is currently low on confidence. The vertical balls haven't been going through for Chelsea. If you look at Chelsea's last 2 games, the game which they had against City and the game which they had against Fulham, you can understand the ball to the final third is a clear missing. Now, what does Kai Havertz bring in? Kai Havertz hasn't been able to deliver the goods for them. Either has been Mason Mount. Now, what can Mudryk possibly do in that particular zones. And what can Mudryk really do? That's what we're going to look about. Now let's understand his player profile, what he can do on the field. Now Mudryk is a player who really likes to cut inside. We have seen that with Mudryk in Shakhtar as well. A player who really likes to get inside pockets of space. He likes to run inside the inside channels. Likes to play those one touches. Likes to play those 1-2s with with his players, and try to come in very direct inside the box. He's a very clear example of how an inverted winger is. Now, when you have a player like Mudryk over there, you need to have players on the left hand side to give you the defensive support as well. Now that's going to be a very important factor for Chelsea, and which I'll be talking ahead as well in my slides. Now let's talk about his creative play, right? One area which Mudryk has really impressed a lot of players is when it comes to his crossing. He's got various range when it comes to his passing and crossing, but not as same when it comes to the long balls. His outside foot crosses were very very impressive in the Ukrainian league. Even in the Champions League, he did a couple of times. His crossing, coming in and going wide, putting those balls in for the striker or for the opposite flank wingers, have been very impressive throughout the last season. And that's one area which Chelsea would like to have as well, especially for if Aubameyang is going to stay in the team, and for Aubameyang to get into positions and to have the aerial presence up there to put the headers in. So Mykhailo Mudryk can be that useful facet for the Chelsea Football Club coming on that region. Now let's talk about this particular factor in terms of Mykhailo Mudryk as well. Now, what is it when it comes to his movements, right? How does he cut inside? Mudryk, as you can clearly see in this particular image, Mudryk is wide. And what is that Mudryk really is looking for? Mudryk is a player, as I mentioned, will drift inside, and that's where for Shakhtar they had Mikhail Chelenko was a very important factor, because Mikhail Chelenko used to give him that overlapping runs, which clearly made sure that Mudryk could drift inside. And Mudryk getting into those explosive areas, Mudryk is extremely good when it comes to taking on defenders one on one, two on one. A very, very similar profile when it comes to explosiveness. You can compare him with an Mbappe. His pace in the Champions League was recorded higher than Vini Jr. and Mbappe in the last season. He had a pace of 36.6 kilometers per hour on average. So that is a very good stat to have. So his highest pace was 36.6, and that really makes him a very explosive winger. And when it comes to his dribbling skills, trickery, he's got it in him to take on 2v1 positions as well. As you go on with Mbappe, you can't keep a one-on-one situation with him, because he's got the pace, got the trickery to cut inside. Similarly, if when Ben Chilwell is fit and fine, and when Ben Chilwell is in full form, or if it is Marco Correa, they will have to give him that overlapping runs and to give him that width, so that Mykhailo Mudryk can drift inside, and on the left hand region there is enough defensive support. Or if it is Kovacic playing on the left midfield areas, he have to get into those left half spaces to give him the defensive support. So one can say Mykhailo Mudryk is a very explosive winger, and also his defensive stats can be very, very useful for Graham Potter. When it comes to Chelsea Football Club at this point of time, they are lacking an identity. If they have to shift to playing a more aggressive mindset by playing pressing football, they can use Mykhailo Mudryk as a talisman up there, because he's got the pace, he's got the explosiveness. He can give you that pressures up front in terms of regaining ball position in opposition's half. So these are factors which you get with Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, where can Chelsea possibly use him? They've gotten How Felix this time. Of course, we all know that How Felix had a very dreadful start to his Premier League, getting that red card, getting banned for 3 games. Now, How Felix will be a player who will possibly start through the central region, or on occasions, if How Felix is not starting, if you want to play How Felix through the right hand or the left hand region, you can also try in Mykhailo Mudryk through central region. He's not an out and out striker, but definitely can be used as an interim option if need be for Chelsea in the in the shorter run, to actually get out of the turmoil they are now going through. So that is what Mykhailo Mudryk is all about when it comes to his player profile and what he really brings to the Chelsea's table. And Chelsea will be really hoping the 100 mil worth signing is actually worth it in the longer run. He's very young, he's very explosive. Chelsea have maybe paid the price what possibly other clubs would have paid maybe 2 years down the line, or even more. So one can definitely say he's a player for the future for Chelsea Football Club. And if he really is groomed well into the Chelsea system, he can possibly give them a very good finish to the season and take them out of the problems they are currently facing. Definitely, there's a lot of skepticism about his positioning, what Chelsea really demands, but it can time can only tell us how much big an impact it can make. Like you saw the last season with Luis Diaz, we have seen that in previous season with Bruno Fernandes, how they come into a season and really makes a difference in the Premier League and how it really uplifts the team. Similarly, Chelsea will be hoping that from Mykhailo Mudryk as well. So do not forget to subscribe to our channel, guys, and also share this video so we can keep bringing you more of these content. And do not forget to check all our courses because the link is in the description. And having said that, stay tuned for more of these videos and more of these reels where we bring in some interesting trivias. Bye bye and take care.